listening to the MMA Brothers Podcast, coming to you from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Your source for UFC news, previews, and post-fight coverage. Hosted by your favorite duo, Daryl and Asher. Let's get it started.
Hello guys and welcome back to the MMA Brothers Podcast. It's Daryl.
It's Asher.
And we're talking UFC Fight Night, Paul Felder versus RDA. So Asher, can you get us started?
Yep, if you don't mind, just hopping onto the UFC webpage. So, originally you were supposed to have Islam Makhachev versus Rafael Dos Anjos, but that's not happening anymore. Paul Felder, the Irish Dragon, is pulling up. He's replacing Islam Makhachev to fight Dos Anjos this weekend at 155, which is kind of insane because it's going to be a 5-round fight. But guys, we're going to be doing just the main card. We're going to start at the bottom of the main card. And the first fight in the main card is your boy Eryk versus Antonio Arroyo. If you don't mind clicking on that, please. So, Eryk, he's a guy that's been kind of 50-50 in the UFC. That he kind of, he wins some, lose some. And he's somebody that's talked to Speak Easy. Easy was on his part. He was on Easy's podcast, which is pretty cool. Antonio Arroyo is a beast. Antonio Arroyo, this guy kicks hard. He punches hard. He's from Brazil. He's taller, and he's gonna have, a little bit of a reach disadvantage, I guess. But like, he's a beast. I know. Eryk also has some power, and he can knock some dudes out at 185 and 205, but Arroyo is a scary dude, and he also has submissions under the bag. So with this one, just looking at both of their stats, I'm just going to have to pick Arroyo with this one. Who you got there?
I got Eryk. I think that Eryk's had his ups and he's at his downs, but I think he's starting to figure it out. This fight's at middleweight, right? Yeah. So I think he's going to figure it out, man. His left hand's an absolute bullet. Antonio Arroyo is very dangerous on the ground and standing up. I think Eryk's faced higher level of competition so far. So I'm going to go with Eryk by first round TKO. I think he's going to catch him cold, catch him moving in, and he's going to get the dub. We're going to move on to the women. This is Kay Hansen from the United States coming at 5'2" at the 115. Is that flyweight or strawweight, Asher?
Strawweight.
That's strawweight versus Cory, the Hobbit McKenna. Cory's from the United Kingdom at 5'3". I think Cory's a new entrance into the UFC, as she just previously fought the Contender Series based off of that picture. Now, Cory McKenna, very, very accomplished, finishes a lot of her fights by decision. And not finishes her fights by decision, but wins a lot of them by decision. She's decent on the ground and also very good at striking. She usually goes for a high volume of strikes that lead to her getting the decision win or her getting the TKO. She can submit you on the ground, usually prefers to stand up. Kay Hansen, on the other hand, loves to go on the ground and submit you. So if I'm Cory McKenna, I'm keeping this fight standing up. I'm going to piece her up on the feet, keep it moving, leg kick Kay to the point where she forces the shots. When she does shoot, you can land a knee, you can stop the takedown, bring her up, and then land elbows on the way up. There's a lot of things that you can do if you're Cory McKenna, but the one thing you want to do is keep it standing, because that's where Kay does not have an advantage. She has a disadvantage in the stand-up and has an advantage in the submission game. Who do you got? I'm going with Cory McKenna, by the way. Who do you got, Ashley?
Yeah, this is definitely a prospect fight that the UFC is putting together on this card. They're both very young. I think they're both 21, if I'm not mistaken. So, you expect, obviously, a lot of them are going to be fighting. They're going to be very scrappy. But I'm going to go with Kay because of that submission percentage. I mean, winning 57% of your fights by submission is a high number. So I'm going to go with her. So you can continue on to the next fight.
Yeah, we're going to go into Julian Marquez versus sapperberg Safarov. Okay, my Russian Dagestanian brother. So this is also at middleweight. One thing to note about Julian Marquez is he KO'd Philip Hawes, I'm pretty sure. Philip Hawes was on the Contender Series, I think, in 2017. Philip Hawes, the guy who just got the stunning knockout a few weeks ago, or is it last weekend? The middleweight Philip Hawes. Julian Marquez, he's gotten a little bit of a fighting lull in the sense that he fights every few years and then he has injuries, and then, you know what I mean?
He's been out for like at least a year, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's going to come in. He's got the reach disadvantage of 6 inches to Sapperberg from Russia. Sapperberg is 1 inch shorter at 6'1". Julian, the Cuban Missile Crisis, Marquez is at 6'2". How did they get it done? As you guys know, Julian Marquez has those heavy hands and heavy kicks. Watch his KO Philip Oz. It's pretty brutal. It's on the UFC's Instagram and Twitter. Sapperberg, don't really know much about him, but what I can tell you is he gets it done standing up, and he's got those heavy hands and that long reach that could cause Julian trouble. I think he's going to keep him at the end of his punches, throw mostly jab, feel out Julian in the beginning of the fight, because that's where Julian's most dangerous. Who do I think has got the win? I think Julian's going to get this dub. He's got a lot of potential, but he doesn't fight often enough to realize that potential. I think this is going to be his coming out party. He's on the main card. He's the third fight before the main event, and he's going to get it done by first round KO. Who do you got, Asher?
I think I'm going to go with Marquez. I think Marquez is going to catch Safarov. Safarov, he came into the UFC undefeated. He has taken a few L's. But like I have a feeling that, I mean, if your nickname's the Cuban Missile Crisis and you haven't fought in a year, you better show up and knock this dude out. So I'm putting my money on Julian Marquez to get this one done. But we can move on to the next one. So the next one that we have here is Abdul Razak Alhassan versus Chaos Williams. So Alhassan Chaos Williams. So Alhassan is a guy that came with a lot of hype. I don't know if everybody remembers his last fight. I can't remember the guy who he fought, but he fought a guy, and like Alhassan was getting tagged. And like when I say he was getting tagged and not getting KO'd, I have no idea what this guy's chin's made out of, but like he was getting hit with shots. Do you remember that fight?
Yeah, he's got granite chin.
I was like, yo, this Alhassan guy, like he just kept taking a beating, and like he had a lot of power, and he was able to tag like his opponent a couple times, but like he ended up going to a decision and he lost the fight. So it was against Laziz, Munir Laziz. So Alhassan is being given obviously another shot, being the co-main event on this card. The UFC does think that he has a bright future, so they're giving him Chaos Williams. Chaos Williams does say like he's 1-0, which is not true. He's 10-1, so he has also been on a streak in his career. So as you can see, obviously Alhassan gets all of his fights done by KO. So I'm gonna go with Alhassan in this one. I think he's gonna be able to get it done. The last fight, I don't know what he was doing. Maybe mentally he just wasn't there, but I think he's gonna be able to get this one done. What do you think?
I think the UFC still needs to fix their website with the rest of these fighters. But anyways, I'm going to go with Abdul Razak Alhassan. The dude is scary. He finishes all of his fights. If you're an opposing fighter, you want to take it to the ground. His last fighter was a very good stand-up practitioner. Do I think Chaos Williams has enough tools to get it done in the stand-up fight? No, because he's a decision and a KO fighter. Abdul is just a KO fighter. I'm going with Abdul to get it done. First round. KO. You got the co-main event, and you're going to come out there and you're going to prove to Dana White why they picked you. He's going to come out there with all the smoke. But if Chaos Williams gets it done, you got to give him a ranked opponent after this fight. But we'll move on to Paul Felder versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Paul Felder from the United States, 5'11", Irish Dragon. You're fighting at lightweight. This is a short notice fight, as Asher previously mentioned. Reach is the same. Paul has a half-inch reach advantage. RDA from Brazil, 5'8", kind of small for the division. Same reach as I said. How did these fighters get it done? RDA, majority of decisions by 48%, submission 34%, TKO, KO 17%. RDA is not really a threat standing up. He kind of fights you to get you to take him down, or to him take you down. Paul Felder, he's got nothing but heavy hands. God damn. Paul Felder brings the smoke. He's taking this on short notice, as I already said. If you watch this fight against Dan Hooker's chin is ridiculous. Do I think RDA can take that level of punishment from Paul Felder? No, I don't. I think Paul gets him out of there in the second round due to TKO. Who do you got, Asher?
I think Rafael Dos Anjos has been on a slide, and he's obviously come back down to 155 because he didn't have much success at 170. He did go on a little bit of a win streak, but it's 170. Those guys are much bigger than he is. So he's coming back down to 155 where he was champ. Paul Felder is the king of split decisions. This fight is not in his favor. Obviously, he didn't have a training camp, even though he did say he was in shape because he was training for a triathlon. So he's never been as light now as he's been. So that's why he felt that he could make 155. But it is a 5-round fight. So that also doesn't go in Paul's favor. It should go in Dos Anjos' favor because he's more trained and ready for this fight. Now, Paul Felder, He's a guy, like Daryl said, has a lot of power in his hands. Dos Anjos has better jiu-jitsu than Paul Felder. So I'm pretty sure Dos Anjos is going to want to take it to the ground and not stand with Paul too much. Dos Anjos does throw a lot of leg kicks, and Paul Felder is susceptible to getting leg kicked. So that would be something that I would consider if you're betting on this fight. But I will say that I'm going to put my money on Paul Felder to get this done. I just feel like he's at a point in his career right now that he knows that he has 1 foot in and 1 foot out. He's talked about retiring. He is 36 years old. They are both older. So I do have a feeling that Paul Felder is going to just come in there as a beast and get it done. And I don't think this chapter is over for him. So it should be exciting stuff, guys. What did you think about the fights? Let us know who you think is going to win. And as always, you can follow us on Instagram at MMA Brothers Pod. So please check us out there. Our following continues to grow. We appreciate the engagement. Like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, we're going to have some more interviews coming up with some people, which should be fun. So please check those out as well. There are any last comments?
You know the socials. You better follow them. Asher hits you with those fire memes. He hits you with those fire news. Like, comment, subscribe. MMA Brothers Pod. We out.
Thanks for listening to the MMA Brothers Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please give us a follow on our socials. You can check out a description of this episode for more, but don't forget to connect with us on Instagram at MMA Brothers Pod. We'll see you on the next episode.